All right. This time I'm pretty confident that I know what I did wrong. And so, third time's the charm. Let's do it. This is Electoral College analysis and predictions for October 14th, 2020. And for those techies out there that are curious what I did wrong, I didn't put myself in the studio. I put the second screen with the interactive map up, but not myself. And I thought that was okay, right? Because I didn't want to show myself for this particular video. But what it does is it means it also doesn't include my audio. So what I had to do is put myself in the studio, but then remove my image, hopefully leaving in my audio. So let's see if I can tell you the same thing for the third time this afternoon without losing my freaking mind. Here we go. Now, as I always like to say, we start out with the most predictable ones, right? These are the ones that these candidates have in their back pocket, stashed away, no doubt about it. And it's just kind of therapeutic to go through and do this, right? It's kind of like when you're a little kid in kindergarten and you color in the coloring pages, and you get to do the, you know how it's going to come out, but you do it anyway. And it's just kind of relaxing and therapeutic. Oh, always forget Alaska over there. They've hidden Alaska down here in Mexico for some reason. It's just kind of funny, and I always kind of miss it. I also miss South Carolina sometimes and West Virginia because they're kind of tucked away in odd places. So, all right, there is the standard 121 electoral votes that any Republican, and in this particular case, Donald Trump, has in his back pocket. I'm also going to see, this is where it gets a little complicated. The first time I did this video earlier this afternoon, I struggled for like 5 minutes getting this thing to work, but I think I've got it now. The at-large Nebraska should turn red. Yes, see, it doesn't change the states. That confuses me because those are the three congressional districts that are separate. But that gives the whole state at large to Donald Trump. Then we want to give number 1 and I think number 3, to him. Okay, there we go. Now, similarly, I feel pretty confident that we can give Maine District 2. Yeah, there we go. So, hey, I did it right on the first time. That's a miracle. Okay, so there's the 126 electoral votes. I feel like Donald Trump cannot lose under any circumstances. Those are guaranteed locks. Okay, then we can switch over and do the blue side. And, you always have the West Coast. That's pretty easy. And you have Colorado and New Mexico have pretty solidly become blue states now, as well as Minnesota's. It was close, but I still feel like it's pretty much guaranteed. And you have New York, of course. And then, as I always say, the Democrats pretty much get the states that need their own column of buttons because they're so small in geography. And the only one of these that's ever even really in doubt at all is New Hampshire, because it went for George W. Bush in 2000 by like 5 votes. So, if you want to, you can make it a little lighter blue, but it's still blue. I'm not big on the shading right now. These are dark. These are like the dark blue. And then, of course, Virginia's become a blue state. And, of course, my own state that I live in currently, Illinois, is a blue state. So and of course, Hawaii, I always miss Hawaii. They hit it down here in Mexico too. You'd think that there was like a short road linking Alaska and Hawaii by the way they put it on these maps. Okay, so that's pretty much what you end up with, is that Joe Biden and pretty much any Democrat these days is going to have a pretty solid 223. Now, here's the thing that's tricky about this. And you know what? I'm going to go ahead and say Nevada too, because I know that it's always close, but it's always close in the sense of the Democrats win it. And they also are going to get, pretty sure they're going to get the urban part of Nebraska, and they're going to get Maine overall, and they're also going to get the urban, quote unquote, urban part of Maine. Okay. This provides a weird, situation where it looks like most of Maine went for Donald Trump, but he's not getting 4 electoral votes there. He's getting 1. That's just that there's this one really big district here, and it goes for the Republicans sometimes and for the Democrats sometimes, but it's just a congressional district. It's 3-1 blue if you look at that right there. Okay. Anyway, Now, here's the interesting thing. These states, Arizona, Texas, Florida, Georgia, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Michigan, Wisconsin, Iowa, those 10 states are gray right now. They are the ones that are kind of the deciders in the election, the toss-ups. Here's the thing that is amazing to me about these 10 states, right? Because if you look at the numbers, it's 126 to 233. If you look at those numbers, you think, man, the Democrats have a huge advantage here. How can they possibly lose? Well, get this. Of these 10 states that we're not entirely sure how they're going to go this year, in 2016, all 10 of them went for Donald Trump. All 10. You want to know how Donald Trump is president right now? He pulled the fabled inside straight and drew like everything available. He won every up for grabs state in 2016. And that is very impressive. And that is why he's president. But here's the problem that Donald Trump has today is he's not winning all that many of these right now. Now, I know that what you're thinking. You're thinking, well, you know, the polls said that Hillary was going to win all those too. Well, there's a couple of things about that. One is that they have made drastic changes to most formulas and logarithms and so forth for how they do polls since 2016. They know that they got it wrong. Everybody, for the most part, got it wrong in 2016. They know, and they pretty much know how. What they did was they didn't adjust properly for college education as a major factor. And it's turned out that out of all the sort of indicators that they could take into account, the one that really seems to draw the greatest distinction in an otherwise not really distinctive group, like, for example, you know, you can say African Americans are going to overwhelmingly vote for the Democratic candidate. But among like white voters, there's a distinction among white voters, and that is college degree, no college degree. And they've weighted them much more in that direction now. So what that should mean, and we'll find out for sure in less than 3 weeks, but what that should mean, okay, that should mean that if you took a state that was 4 points up for Hillary at this time in 2016 and a state that's 4 points up for Biden this time, Hillary's would adjust using the Biden formula to like -3. Whereas Biden's remains +4. That's the theory. Again, we'll see. In other words, Biden's 4-point lead and Hillary's 4-point lead are two very different leads. Hillary's was actually -3 in a couple of states, whereas Biden's, using Hillary's formula, Biden would be like +11. But they've reduced him down to the Hillary adjustment, and it's still +4. The point is, to kind of sum all that up and make sense, hopefully, Biden's lead is so much greater than Hillary's in some of these places that even drastically adjusting for what went wrong with her polls, he's still ahead by as much as she was, and would be that much more ahead using the formula they used on her. Okay, again, you can agree or disagree. I really don't care. We'll find out for sure in about 2.5 weeks. Now, here's how the situation is looking now. I'm going to look at a few of the numbers and kind of give you a latest update. So the first place I want to go is Arizona, over there in the bottom left corner. Arizona is now 67% leaning Biden, according to 538. And here's why. You see it's widening out, right? It got really narrow there at the beginning of September, but it's had some fluctuations. There was a period there where it looked like it was going to come down back into the Republican control, but now it's widening back out again. And here's why. Look at this. Out of all the polls that have been conducted going back into late September, Biden leads in every one of them except Trafalgar. Now, you might say, oh, wait, where do I know that name from? I've heard of Trafalgar. Well, here's the deal. Trafalgar were the ones that claimed they were the only ones that got it right in 2016. They had Hillary losing. They had Trump winning in places like Michigan and Wisconsin, where she ended up losing by a total in those two states of like 30,000 votes out of millions cast. But see, here's the thing. Trafalgar arrives at their conclusion by asking people, who are you going to vote for? And then they say, who do you think your neighbors are voting for? And if you say I'm voting for Biden and then say, oh, but man, all my neighbors around me are for Trump, they go ahead and count you as a Trump voter. Now, I find that methodology ridiculous, and so does 538. They rank them a C- poll. I think that what that did, it gave them an accurate result in 2016 kind of by accident. In other words, it corrected for one problem by adding another problem that balanced out. You know what I mean? So I just don't put a lot of stock in that methodology for arriving at the truth. I would much prefer a poll be adjusted where you account for things like college education. And that's what Siena College New York Times poll does. It's an A+ poll, and it's got Biden up 8. So what am I going to do with that knowledge and information? I'm going to go ahead and do that with that knowledge and information. Boom. Let's look at Texas. All right, let's zoom on down here to Texas. Texas is fun. They've still got Trump 68-32, but I'll tell you something interesting. Look at how it's converging. It's not converging enough that it's probably going to cross before Election Day. And of course, people are already voting anyway. But look at the polling. It's just kind of all over the place. You have two that say it's a tie. Two different polls that say it's a tie. You got a couple of Trump, a couple of Biden, a couple of Trump. But because the ones later in October have Trump ahead, I'm going to go ahead by the narrowest of margins and go ahead and make Texas Trump. I think that's the fair thing to do, right? Okay, let's look at Florida. Look at that. Florida now is 71-29 favoring Joe Biden. Why is that? And look at how it started to converge a little bit, and it's just widened on out lately, ever since the debate. Now, there is a tiny downtick for Biden, uptick for Trump in the last couple of days. Going back, you see, to the 13th, the 12th, and all of a sudden it goes down. I don't know that that's statistically relevant and significant, but let's look at the polls. Look, again, who's the only Trump poll going back into September? Our old buddies Trafalgar. So, if they're right again, this election could go very differently than it looks. But as of right now, they're the only ones that are seeing what they think they're seeing. And so I don't have a choice. I got to go ahead and do that. Let's look at Georgia. We're going to zip right through these. All right. Let's look at Georgia. They have, it's close, but they now, for the first time, they have Biden leading in Georgia, 51-49. It's awfully narrow. Because look at that. Way back, just back in the beginning of September, it was 70-30 in their predictions, 70-30 for Trump. And look how it's changed. As of today, it is 51-49, just a little blue peeking up over that red. Why is that? Because it went from tied, Biden, Trump, Trump, Biden, Trump, Biden, Biden. But you've got an A poll and a B+ poll, both running through Monday, both showing Biden ahead. So what am I going to do? Dude, what can I do? I'll make it light colored. There you go. You like that? But in fact, I'll even give Arizona. There you go. Maybe that'll make folks happy. Let's give them two. There you go. What about North Carolina? Let's take it to North Carolina, the Tar Heel state, right? Look at that. North Carolina was very much up in the air, very up in the air for quite a long time. But look at this. Go back to September 30th. It was 53-47. Look at it now, 66-34. It has really widened out. This has not been a good week or two for Donald Trump since the debate and the COVID diagnosis. Bless his heart. Look at this. It's close. It's narrow. There's no doubt it's narrow. But every single poll in North Carolina, going back as far as they go back to October 2nd, 4th, 7th, every one of them has Biden ahead. I got no choice, folks. I got to throw North Carolina, nice Carolina blue there for you, that way. Pennsylvania, I think Pennsylvania's gone. It's done. It's a done deal, but we can look. We can look real quick. Oh, yeah. Look, blue, 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 blue. Not even worth wasting time on. Boom. What about Michigan? I'm telling you right now, it's blue. What about Wisconsin? It's blue. So here's where things stand right now. Of all of those states I was talking about, that Trump won every one of them in 2016. And he is now behind in every one of them except Texas. And we saw Texas is really close. And Iowa and Ohio, we can look at it. Let's look at Ohio real quick. Ohio is going to blow your mind. Ohio is 51-49. It was dead even a couple of days ago, or like a week ago. And now it's look at that. I mean, that almost is a straight line, not two lines. And look, it's just all over the place. It's all over the place. I can't make any sense out of that. I'm just not going to worry about it. And let's look at Iowa. I think it's kind of the same deal, 54-47. But look at those trend lines. Good gosh. And the polls are just kind of, well, look at that. Up until September 28th, there was a Biden, but it was more Trump. Then it was a tie, a little bit Biden, a tie, a little more Biden. You can see where the trend lines are narrowing rapidly. Will they cross? Maybe they'll be crossed by tomorrow. Within the next day or two, maybe these all roll off and you have nothing but blue or a tie. I don't know. But in the meantime, I'm leaving those two states gray. Let me tell you something right now. No Republican has ever won the presidency without winning Ohio. Never. If Donald Trump can't win Ohio, how is he supposed to win North Carolina? How is he supposed to win Florida, Georgia, Arizona? I don't know. How's he supposed to get back any of these Midwestern states that propelled him to victory last time? I just don't see it. So right now, as of this moment, and again, this kind of thing can change day to day. We know that, right? As of right now, 350 for Joe Biden, 164 for Donald Trump, 24 that I'm going to need more information. I can't make a prediction on those two. Right now, my prediction is that they're not decided on election day. They're going to take days to figure those two out. If the election was held right now, we wouldn't know who won those two states for like a week. Okay, so that's it. Now, I told you, what's the sort of the best case for Donald Trump? The best case is that he gets these. He's got to get Florida back. He's got to get Florida back. He's got to get Georgia back. He's got to get North Carolina back. He doesn't have a path, really, without those. Once he does that, see, now he's ahead. He's got to get those back. He's got to get Ohio, and he's got to get Iowa. Okay? He's still losing, though. Now he's got to find a way to get Arizona back. Guess what? He's still losing. He's got to get all those back and try to get Wisconsin, maybe. Then we got a tie. Oh, Lord. Or he's got to try to get Pennsylvania. That'd do it. But you see what I mean? These are states that are just kind of hopeless for him right now. Donald Trump's going to have to win all those states that he's losing in right now and hold Texas and hold Iowa and find somewhere else to pick off. If he doesn't, he can get all these and he still loses. So what we're looking at right now to wrap things up is Joe Biden is in a very good position and just needs to hold on. Donald Trump has got to get everything back that he's currently losing in and find a state he's really losing in and flip that one too. Can he do it? Man, I mean, some people are already voting. There are millions of ballots have already been cast. So it's a very tall order, but it's not a zero. It's not a 0% chance. We'll see how it goes. All right, I'm going to wrap up for there, and I'll talk to you again in a few days, and we'll see you.